All right, so we're gonna spend some time on finishing from the underhook or looking to score from the underhook. So again, Evan showed earlier how to get to the underhook. So for now, we're just gonna start right in the underhook. Now, this kind of can get broken down in a couple different ways. I've got my righty underhook, my lefty underhook, and then we're gonna have some basic shots and kind of some trick moves. So I like most of my stuff from a righty underhook, so I get to my righty underhook. The first move I'm gonna try to hit is gonna be a single to the side. I have the underhook too. Now, I could just, when I'm first learning out, I could just step behind his leg and drop down. So I could just step behind his leg, slide my back hand down, lock, and get right into my single here. All right, so that's kind of the start of this. I go underhook, I do a little shuffle step, and I slide down into my single here. Now, when you do this, you have to make sure you've got good head position. I like teaching where I'm smashing my head kind of against his ribs here to get his chest away. So when I step in for my single, I have to make sure his weight does not lean over me here. If my head's buried, it's very, very difficult to score. So when I step, it's almost like a blast single, right there. Another way to hit this single is going to be using a throw by. So when I have this, when I have this underhook, I'm going to lift my elbow and throw the underhook by, and then catch the single. So I'm going to bring my chest in, I'm going to throw the underhook by, and then I'm going to slide down to the single. This one is a little bit more difficult to hit, just because of the timing aspect of it, but the setup is very nice. The guy's off balance when you get there. It's a little easier to finish. So what this might look like is, normally people are righty, so I'm going to post, or I club, whatever it is, I pull, I get to my underhook, and I start, the second I get to my underhook, I start running my feet to where I want to go. So I'm running my feet, and then I'm just going to step deep, keep my chest up high, throw it by, and slide my hand down into the single. So sometimes with the single, you might have to drop your level and get all into the mat. We usually teach for some of the heavier guys, you won't. Like if I'm a heavyweight guy, I'm probably gonna stay up tall, throw by, or just step behind here. Some of the lighter guys have to get all the way down to the mat, so they might step behind and go right to the knee. So I might be here with the head position, I'm gonna step in, and I'm gonna smash my knee behind his heel, and get all the way down to the mat there. So depending on your style and what you like to do, you can use any three of those, or all of them. The next one we're going to show is going to be a front headlock. So all of these kind of work together, and based on where I feel good or based on where he is, I might go to certain moves. So I go to my underhook. He's kind of leaning back here. My head's up a little higher than I want. Maybe I'm trying to get in here, but he's beating me in this head position. I'm simply going to take my left hand and slap the back of his head so it goes underneath my chest. So I'm here, I'm trying to stand up tall. I'm blocking with my left hand just in case, maybe I have his wrist. I'm gonna slap the top of his head down just so I can get my chest over here. All right? I'm in good position, I'm up tall, I slap the back of his head and catch his chin. From here I can bounce and go either way. I can bounce and switch, or I can bounce and slide my hand from an underhook to overlocking, depending on where you like to go for your finish. So I'll show that again here. I post, I club, I go underhook. I start maybe circling to my single, his head's down. I slap his head, grab his chin, and when I bounce, when I pull him down to the mat, I'm gonna step my lead leg back. So I don't wanna pull him into my legs. I'll step my lead leg back, bounce him, just keep my chest up nice and high, go to my lock, or maybe I bounce him, go off to a shot there. That's kind of where your style comes into play. You get to decide where you like to go from that front headlock. So we're going to be going over a front headlock series in depth a little later, but when I get to that front headlock, right, I snap down. What I'm doing, if they grab my elbow, let's say he's holding my elbow, is I'm going to bounce him to the side he's holding. So he's holding my right elbow. I'm going to bounce him to the right, and then slip my elbow out and go off to the left side. All right, that's just kind of, I do that right away whether he grabs my elbow or not, but that's kind of a trick if he is holding it. So when I pull underneath, my I go back and down to my knee. I bounce him here, slip my elbow free, go to the left side, or slip my elbow free, go to the right side. All right, so next we're gonna go over a double knee drop. So I have an underhook on this right side, and I'm going to a double. Now, if your partner's not giving you the reaction you want, take what's there. A lot of times people will, they'll be wrestling from an underhook and they're trying to go for the move that's not there. Don't force anything with these underhooks. You should be able to hit all of these moves from an underhook and take what's there. So I'm gonna go underhook here. He's standing up tall, trying to square up with me maybe. I have good head position. You can hit this, again, with the wrist. But I'm just gonna drop to my knees and go right into a double. I'm not doing a penetration step. All I do is I'm on those wrists here. I just drop to my knees. I can finish off the side. I'll show it again. I club, underhook. I'm circling for my single. He starts squaring up with me. I drop to my knee and slide his head with my right hand above. Here. Finish. Here's that move, a little bit kind of match-like speed. So I pose that club. I'm circling here. Lift it. You finish. The next move here is going to be a knee pick. And within the knee pick, I'll show it the way I like to do it. There's a lot of different ways to hit a knee pick. But I'm going to hit this knee pick when his right foot is forward. So he's kind of low in his stance maybe here. That right foot is forward. That's when I hit a knee pick. And the way I hit my knee pick is I'm collecting, with my left hand, I'm collecting kind of the back of his knee here where that tendon is. I'm just going to hold it. I'm not really pulling the knee to me very much, but I'm just stopping his leg from stepping back. And then what I do with my right hand is I throw it by the same way I throw by for the single. So I have the center of my hand on my back, my chest goes first, then my shoulder, and then the inside of my forearms turns up, keeping my right hand on his back the whole time. So I step toe to toe, I kind of throw my chest first to get him to start going, my shoulder comes up, my elbow comes up, and then I collect the knee and go behind him. Some people like to stay in front, I'm gonna go behind. Here, here, I might circle him with it, steps. I'm going toe to toe, catch the knee, throw my chest, shoulder, elbow, and keeping the back of my hand, the front of my hand on his back until it slips by, and then I'm finishing. Once you get that knee pick down, I like to add a trip. So I find a lot of times I would hit that knee pick and I throw by, and maybe I get behind and lock my hands, but I don't finish completely. So I'll do the same thing, but I'm gonna add, you could call it like a sweep or a trip. I'm just gonna be collecting the same leg that I'm hitting the knee pick to. So I pose, underhook, I'm rotating, I get in the step, I go toe to toe, here, I throw it by, and then as I throw it by, I just collect both of his legs. Here, here, rotating them. Like that. This one can be a little difficult to get the hang of, but I find it works very, very well because a lot of people will stop that knee pick, but you kind of catch them by surprise with the sweep there. Here's a foot sweep from the underhook. So I'm on the right side for now. I got my underhook. Maybe this guy's standing up tall. I'm trying to go single. It's not working. I'm coming back up. I'm going to look to foot sweep. And the way you foot sweep is not really going to be like a soccer kick or anything. I'm simply stepping around him. So my left foot steps around him, and my right hand's going to pull him in a circle. So I have my underhook. I step around him. My right hand pulls just like that. So I'm staying up tall with this. I step around, and I just pull at the same height, keeping my chest up. Here, show one more time. I step around, and I pull just like that. Now, all I do with my foot is I just put my foot up and collect, basically trip him over my leg. So I don't really have to sweep super hard. I can just kind of block him to get that trick. So here, I go underhook. He's kind of up tall a bit. Again, I can do this from the wrist. I step around, I pull, and then my right foot just catches, and I follow him down. This one's very tricky to get because it feels natural to want to sit your butt back. So you'll see a lot of kids do this, like that, and that could be pretty dangerous. So make sure when you're doing this, your hips are in, you're up tall, and you basically have to get past the fear of being in your stance. So I'm going to be up very tall when I hit this. Here, club. I'm standing in here. Maybe I'm trying to pressure him out of bounds. Right, I'm pressuring him out of bounds. He pushes back in. I step around, foot sweep, follow down. A lot of times when you hit this, he may not land perfectly on his back and have you cover, but he lands and you just find a way to score there.
So you do double unders, do from when they have the double unders and their butt's kind of back. Like I'm saying, like do the same thing.
Yeah.
But like from here,
Yep.
that's kind of where I hit matches more often.
Okay. So another way to get this foot sweep from an underhook is as he's maybe backing out, I can dig a second underhook. So I can go second underhook. Sometimes I can just keep that wrist and push with the wrist, but double unders is probably one of your best bets here. So I'm in the same position, underhook. I'm trying to pressure him out of bounds, maybe double underhook. My hips are in. I'm simply going to step the exact same motion, but now I have two arms to kind of force him over to his back. So one's going to pull, one's going to lift. I sweep, rotate to him, and then you can follow him down there. Here's a duck from the underhook. So I've got an underhook here. Maybe he grabs my wrist. I never really want him to get my wrist, but maybe he grabs my wrist. Maybe I'm setting him up, and I'm just gonna lift and step and duck the side that he's controlling here. So maybe he's pressuring in here. He's got my wrist. I'm gonna swing his wrist open and go right underneath. So during this technique, you might do an outside step. Some people might slide to both knees. I didn't do a lot of ducks. I felt I usually could get to my single or my double knee drop, but I'm simply doing this. When he catches my wrist, I've got a little pressure here. He pressures in. Maybe I do an outside step. I did. And I'm finishing with the double. All right. The last move we're going to do here in this series with our underhook is going to be a high crotch. And it's kind of a lot different. A lot of times I'm going righty underhook here, and my right hip is in for all my attacks. So my right hip's in close for my single. I go double knee drop, my knee pick. I'm kind of standing up hip to hip. And it can be the same for when I go lefty underhook. So I can do all the exact same moves from a lefty underhook, hip to hip, single lefty, double knee drop, knee pick, all going hip to hip. If I'm going to hit a high crotch, I would do it with my right leg forward. So my underhook is not going to be as deep. I'm not going to have a deep underhook here where my hip's in and I'm looking in for my singles. It's going to be a little more like this. So what I might do, what I might do is I shoot a lot of high crotches, so I keep my lead leg forward. I'll post with my left hand, I'll club with my right hand, and I'm going to be looking for a lefty underhook. I don't do this shot to both sides. I only do it to his right side. So I'll post, I'll club, and I'll circle him here. And then once I get my underhook, I'm not going to step up. I'm just going to have a little short underhook, and I'll use my right hand to keep him away. So my right hand is going to make sure I'm pushing on the shoulder, or his wrist, or his elbow, and I'm simply just going to level change and slide him forward a bit. So I level change, I slide, I'm not going to lift my elbow like this, I'm just going to slide him forward, and I'm going to take a deep step and shoot. Stepping in, finish. I'll show it a little bit faster. So I'm in my stance here, I post, I club here, maybe I can. That's pretty good. If you hit a high crotch, you should add this underhook to your high crotch in. If you like underhooks, you may not like that move in particular, but if you do hit out a lot of high crotches, you should add that in.
Alright, so that's part one of our underhook series. We'll do part two coming up later on. Alright.